So, I'm in the process of preparing a playlist which deals with solving elementary structural analysis problems using the 3D Experiences platform. Now, keep in mind that the default CAD uh, package in the 3D Experience platform is the CATIA program. And the default FEA solver in 3D Experience is the Abacus program. Uh, However, I have noticed that in preparing these tutorials, I've noticed that not all features in the actual Abacus program are actually implemented within the 3D Experiences FEA solver. Okay, and to do that, before I actually prepare those elementary structural analysis problems, what I'm doing is a few preliminary videos that actually shows you some of the bugs or uh, some features that are not actually available in the 3D experience, although the dialog boxes seems to indicate that they are. Okay. So this particular one that I'm doing is the issues that I ran into when I was trying to use the impulse points when I was meshing a structure with beam elements. This, there is definitely an issue with it, and see it in a minute. So in order to show you that, I will concentrate on a simple problem like this, a cantilever beam that is point loaded somewhere in the middle, somewhere along the line, not at the tip. Now, this being the case, you can do this problem two different ways. One of them is to create a line from the wall to the location where uh, the point is, where the load is, and then another line from that location all the way to the right end of the beam. And then you can join these things, for example. There are different ways of doing it, but one way is, for example, to join it. And when you join it and you mesh this whole thing, you can actually use this feature, this junction feature. There's going to be a single node there, and you can actually put a load on it. But there's another way of doing it, and that is what I'm concentrating on. So you draw a single line, and then when you mesh it with beam element, there is this impulse point feature that you can use, and supposedly, once you create a point on this line or a point slightly outside of it, so then it's going to project it into that single line. And when you mesh it, there's not going to be a duplicate nodes at that location. There's going to be a single node, and you can load it. Okay, so this is what is supposed to be okay, supposed to be happening. And in fact, the same type of tutorials that I did for the CATIA's FEA solver, I've in one of the tutorials, one or two, I've done, or maybe one actually, I've gone that route. 1, 2, and 3 tutorials, 1, 2, and 3 in that playlist are actually different strategies, and one of them is the one that I just described to you. Okay, but let's move on. So here's the beam measure in 3D experience. When you open it up, the dialog box opens up. And of course, you can select the support, which is the line, and then put the mesh size. And then down here, there is something called local specification. And one of them is this icon, which says impulse points. So in fact, this is what I'm talking about. Create a line, create a point, and later on, when you mesh it, select the line and also click on that and select the point, and that guarantees that supposed to be like that. Guarantees that there's going to be a node there. I will show you that there are some issues with that. It's doable, but it's something that is completely unintuitive, and in fact meaningless to the way it's working. But anyway, definitely a bug, or maybe it's not implemented at this point. Maybe they'll fix it in future, but definitely there's a problem. Now, because the software is being revised periodically, I think maybe almost every month now. They submit hot fixes that you have to install. The date that I'm preparing this video is September 8th, 2024, and I'll keep an eye on it in future to see whether it's fixed at any point or not. Now, this is something that I will show you as we go along. It's just to show the size of the icons on the screen when you're using beam elements and the cross-section of the beam, etc. But it's not directly related to this problem because we're using beam elements, becomes handy. Okay, and just to show you the similarities between the dialog box in the 3D experience for beam measure and the dialog box in the CATIA V5 FEA solver for beam measure, you can see that these are inherited from there. This is working. The ones for CATIA are working within the CATIA program, but there are issues with it, as I'll show you in a minute. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to the 3D Experience interface. Now notice that I'm starting with part design. I'm going to do this thing in part design, and then I'll show you that even if you did it in generative shape design, you still have to do the same thing. But anyway, let's concentrate on part design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line here. Okay, a line is I'm going to make it a line, but the method that I'm going to do that is going to be point and direction. So for the point, since I don't have anything, I'm going to create a point, and the location of it is going to be 0, 0, 0. And the direction that I'm going to make the line is going to be in direction Y, and I'm going to make it 10 inches long. These numbers don't mean anything because it doesn't matter, you can change it. But anyway, I'm using 10 inches long. Now, let's apply. Now, I don't even have to apply material here, but I'll do it anyways. Okay, I'll do it anyways. Or maybe not. Okay, let's not worry about applying material right now. All right. So I have a line here, and in principle, I should be able to go and mesh this thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is change workbenches or change applications. I'm going to go to structure model creation where the meshing is going to be done. It's going to be an empty FEM model. All right. Okay, empty FEM model. And then here is the mesh tab, and here's the beam mesh. You click on this, that guy opens up. Now, first thing you realize is that the support is this, obviously. The size, I'm going to make it 1 inch, so each element is going to be 1 inch long, so there's going to be 10 of them there. And here is the icon that I was talking about. In principle, if you have a point, you should be able to use this and include it in your mesh. But I don't have a point, but that's okay. You click on it, it says, okay, you don't have a mesh, you can actually go make it. Here, create a support, create a point. It says, oh, there's a problem. Select the parent created feature. Obviously, there's something wrong because I did create it. And it really doesn't matter what I do. I can go and select something. For example, if you go back, hit escape, so this thing comes up. Basically, it's not working. Okay, no problem. Cancel and cancel. All right. So you might say, oh, maybe I should have created my point to begin with. Okay, let's go ahead and create the point that we want. We're going to go to back to the part design. Back to part design. Here is a point, and the method that I'm going to do is on a curve, on this curve, and I can take it to anywhere I want. So for example, I'll leave it as 4.5. And then we say, okay. So there's a point. So let's go and see whether this will work. I'm going to go to my measure, click on the beam mesh, select the support, okay, and then click on the impose point. And then I'm supposed to be able to pick this, but it won't pick it. You see that? It will not pick it. Even if I did it from the tree, this point, it won't take it. So there's definitely something wrong. And let me show how I'm going to fix this. Cancel that. Cancel that. Before, I haven't meshed anything yet. Let me go back to the part design. and I'm going to create a geometrical feature. What does that mean? For example, on this vertical plane, I will sketch anything. Maybe a circle, exit. This has nothing to do with my model, but I'm going to do it. I did it, and then I'm going to pad it. Pad. Good. Now I'm going to do what I was doing before. So I go back to the mesher. Remember? Back to the mesher. Click on the beam mesh. Click the support. Local mesh specification, impulse point. And now I can pick it. And I say, okay. And mesh it. And I say, okay, look. Right there. I then show, there we are. Okay. So it worked. Now you might say, well, wait a minute. Okay, so what is this business of pad? Let me bring back my other stuff here. Okay. You might say, well, what about this? Well, I don't have to do anything to it. As a matter of fact, if I wanted to, I can go and delete it. Let's go back to the part design. I'm going to delete this path. And now see whether I can do the same thing with a different line. Let's try it. So a line, point and direction. For the point I'm going to create, I'll put some coordinates by coordinates. For example, -3 in the x direction. There's my point. There's a point that I created here in the direction y. Yep. And then I say okay. And now I'm going to mesh it. Let's see if it works. Remember, that pad is gone. That pad is gone. But it allowed me to do this, the first one. So let's go back to the part design. Sorry, not the part design. I mean the measure. Double click on this line. Here's the measure. You click on it. Now, but by the way, I don't have a point here, so let's try it. Okay, so here's the support. Okay, here's the support. Line 2. And then click on this icon, impose points. Let me go make one because I didn't make it initially, so I'm going to go make one. That still doesn't work. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back. And create a point there. So let me hit escape so that I'm out of that. Go back to the part design. Okay, create a point. This time, instead of putting the coordinates, I can say on a curve, I select that curve. I put it anywhere I want. So 732. Okay, that's fine. There's a point. Now go to the measure. There. Already the first measure is here. Beam measure. Select the support. Click on this impulse point. And now I can pick it. You see? Mesh and say, okay. Now, notice that what happened when I did it the first time here, it would not let me do that unless I went and created this solid object and padded it, and then it allowed me to proceed. I deleted that solid object. Same thing happens here. It works. Except that when I tried to create that point on this line, it didn't work. Okay? When I was trying to when I did not have a point on this line, and I tried to do it in the dialog box, it won't do that. So I escaped, I went back, created a point on the line, okay, and then it worked fine. Now, the rest of the problem is I can solve it for you, but it really doesn't matter. I can clamp this and define the property, cross-sectional property, etc. And then just to convince you that it is actually working, that's fine. So let's go ahead and do this. For example, let's apply material to it. So tools, already have a material I can apply, properties of steel. What is this? Okay, let me go to part design. Apply material here, tools, material browser. I already have something from steel. Remember, these are not the issues. The issue was you had to create that object. Okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and define the cross-sectional properties of this. So let me go back to my measure, back in the measure. Okay, on the section there, let's get a profile. I'll use a circle. So how about making a circle? I'll make a radius of 0.1. It's going to be used for both of them. All right, and then beam section. I use both of these lines, this line and that line, and use a profile 1, and you can see that. And that screen that I showed you has to do with, do you want to see these cross sections or not? So if you do that, you click on the display, under the display properties. For example, you say show me in solid, it shows you in solid. Show me in sketch, shows you in sketch. And none, of course, is not going to show it to you at all. Okay, so that's what this thing was. So let me put it back. Fine, sketch is fine. Good. Now we're done here, so we're going to go to structure scenario creation. We're going to use our finite element mesh. And let's do a procedure which is a static problem. No nonlinearities. There's no reason to do that. It has nothing to do with what I'm trying to show you. Okay, good. So now for boundary condition, let's clamp both of these. If you want to run both of these, let's clamp both of them. I just did this thing as an illustration. Just happen to have two of them. So you go and clamp these endpoints. This point. Okay, I need to see my lines, obviously. That's why I can't see this. Let me bring both lines there. Okay, so I want to clamp this point, and I want to clamp that point, and I say okay. And I want to put a concentrated force here on the load. For example, I don't know, at that point you can put a load there, minus 1,000, minus 100 pounds. Okay, that's fine. For LBF, yeah. There we are. And you can do it also on this one. Where's the other one? For example, also minus I don't know, 500. Okay, say okay. And now, once again, this display preferences, it allows you to change the size of these things. That's where you were allowed to change this shape of the cross section, display it or not. Anyway, so that's good. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and run it. So under simulate, I'm not going to bother checking stuff because I'm pretty sure this is going to be okay. Ordinarily, I check and then etc. But I'm going to run it. Take my chances. Bad idea, but we'll see that. It's going to be a fast run. After this finishes, I will do exactly the same thing that I did except that I won't start in part design. I'll do it in generative shape design so that, I'm going to create a surface for you. And then once I can put that, mesh that beam, then I can delete the surface I want it to. Okay. And I'm just going to do one line, one mesh, one line that's created. This running business has nothing to do with what I wanted to show you, but at least it tells you what the issue is. Both of them are going to bend. Right. Okay, good. And of course, this bends more because there was bigger load, etc. But you can animate it if you want to see. Both of them are moving actually. This is also moving. You can see that. Now, I'm going to repeat this problem, except that I'm not going to run it, but I'll show you that you have to create something before you can actually do this trick, this thing. All right, let's start. I'm going to start with a generative shape design. We're going to make our line. So we go to wireframe, line, point and direction. Let's create the point. 0, 0, 0. Good. Direction Y, 10 inches. Okay, good, good. Now, remember, I need to create a point here. In principle, I should have been able to do that when I was trying to use the imposed points icon, but it won't let me do that. But I'll show you. So let me not create the point right now. Okay. So we're going to try to mesh it. Okay. So we go to uh, structure model creation, empty FEA model, get the mesh, the beam mesh. It allows you to select that, no problem, 1 inch. When I do this, you see, I don't have that point. I should be able to create it now, but it won't let me do that. You see? Good. So that being the case, I hit escape to get out of that. Go back here, create a point. You can put it on with coordinates or you can put it on a curve. It doesn't matter, whatever is convenient for you. All right, fine. Where is this? Okay, right there. Fine. Now, this is not going to be helpful now until I make that three-dimensional object on it. So go back to nodes and element, try to mesh this, it'll pick it, try to do this, it won't let you take it. So cancel, go back here and make something. For example, let's go ahead and just make a, let's try to make a line. And then if it doesn't work, we're going to do a surface. How about that? So we create a line here, just a line, exit. Let's see if we can do it now. I don't think you can. Go back here, the measure, click on this, select that, impose point. Oh, it did. Okay, so you didn't even have to create a three-dimensional object, even if I had created a surface here. So yeah, that works. So even in the first presentation that I showed you, instead of making a three-dimensional object, I could have drawn anything. Okay, could have drawn a line. Maybe even if I created a point out there, I'm not sure, but let's find out. The rest of the problem is the same. Created a node here, you can put a force here, just like I did. So you know what? Let's try to do it with the part. So let's start back to the part. Where is that? Okay. Let's make a line, point and direction, make the point, 0, 0, 0, right there. Give it the direction and 10 inches. Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is create a point here. Okay, so a point on a curve, this curve, that's fine. Good. If I try to mesh this thing, it won't work. So what I did, I created a box here for you and then meshed it. Okay, so let's try to do it like this. A point, let's create a point with coordinates. Just pretty much any point. I'll make this thing 2, 3. Okay, let's see if we can mesh it now. So we go to structure model creation, empty FEA model, beam measure, select this line, impose point. It won't let you do that. Cancel that. Cancel. Let's go back here and make a line there. See whether that works. So go back to the part design. Now give it a line. Make a line here. Point and direction. This point and direction Z. Okay, so I'll make this thing 3 inches so that you can see it. Now let's go and try to see whether I can mesh the other one. Yep, beam measure. So support is this. Impose point. So you need something. In the first attempt I made in the partisan, I made the box that was unnecessary. Then I came here, I made the point that was not good enough. I drew a geometrical object such as a line, and it works. Okay. All right. So you can see what this thing is about. All of these problems that you ran into could have been avoided if perhaps this was properly implemented. And it doesn't look like it. I mean, everything works fine in CATIA. CATIA's FEA solver, but now we have the Abacus FEA solver, and they try to match these things, but not everything is implemented. All right, folks. So once I get these things out of the way, then I'll start making actually the examples that I'm thinking about, the examples, elementary structure analysis examples within 3D Experience. Okay?